Yeah, what's going on about your boy Anubis the Gamer Archer here with the brand new video for you guys today. Today we got a rant. It's been a while since I've done a rant. Excuse my hair. I just took it down, so I'm gonna be washing it pretty soon. Um Actually today's video plan was not a rant. Today's video plan was actually my Far Cry 70. What's the game called? Far Cry 6. That's the name of the game. English, my first language. I was gonna do a Far Cry 6 review of a sort. Not like a full review, but a review of a sort. But I just watched the Ackman's hot takes video for Elden Ring, where his reply to the hot takes of Elden Ring. And I did a similar video about that before. You can watch that probably on this side, up there. You can watch a video that I made about Elden Ring and the hot takes towards it. And I was going to do another one anyways, but I guess now it's because because I just watched a video and that thought's fresh in my head, so I want to talk about it. But this is mostly about a person who Ackman mentioned in his video, known as Quantum TV. And I already know if Quantum sees this freaking video, he'll probably be just as toxic towards me as he has been towards everyone who has mentioned his name. And so Quantum can freely mention the fact that, this is an 8 viewer channel, 200 something subs. He's shown he's done that. He's pointed out people's numbers to denounce their opinions, to denounce what they say towards him, because he has this ego of, he has a higher viewer base, so therefore what he says matters and what everyone else says doesn't mean shit. His opinion is more validated because he has more eyes on him, and that's not how opinions work. Every opinion on this planet is basically the exact same. And as that saying goes, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. The general point of that comment is, just because, you are a celebrity or someone who, works at McDonald's, your opinion is still an opinion. And you can give shitty takes. You can give shitty opinions. You can give opinions that aren't shitty or aren't shitty takes. And the way Quantum went about his videos about this is more about Elden Ring. We're gonna be talking about multiple things. I don't know how long the video is gonna be. There was no script, but the way he went about it was, he was someone who was attacked by the Elden Ring community, attacked by Elden Ring content creators, and attacked by Twitter in general. And instead of having an adult or professional way of going about it, he took a trifling, unprofessional, quasi victim, but also I'm going to fight your toxicity with more toxicity approach. Where he was attacking people, he was name calling, he was denouncing people, he was insulting an entire community, not a person, not just one person, not just two people. He was insulting an entire community of people, of gamers, because they didn't like his opinion. And I always said this when it comes to social media, and I say this when it comes to content creation. When you reach a certain age, I feel like if you're a teenager, you feel like opinions matter so much to where it's personal. If you're an adult, you should have the mental capabilities or mental awareness to know that if someone doesn't like your opinion, who cares? You don't have to take it personal. Opinions are opinions. Like I just said, before, just go about it in a more professional way. You can make a video where it's a reply to all the negativity, and basically just give your point of view on why you felt the way that you felt, and people will understand the opinion. One of the best things I ever heard Pingu say was, I don't care about your opinion, I care about your reasoning, because your reasoning will make everything make more sense. So if Quantum made a video in reply to all the negativity, and instead of attacking people or being toxic, and just gave his reasoning for why he had the takes that he had, it would have been different. But that's not what happened. Instead of doing that, he doubled down on being toxic and immature and name calling. And I just don't understand the reason behind it. I don't understand why be an adult who's being a trifling asshole. Like, let's just be blunt. He's a trifling asshole. That's who he is. And I don't want to, we're talking about toxicity and name calling, but sometimes you just have to do it. you know. And not only like being toxic, this is pointing out that he's a trifling asshole isn't being toxic. It's just pointing out basically what seems like a factual thing right now when it comes to this guy, because his reaction. And I'm tilted because of his reaction, not to Elden Ring, but his response to Elden Ring's community. You know, again, he sat there and he called Elden Ring's community friendless and they have no lives and things like that. He's insulting like an entire player base. You know, there's a point in his video where he literally says, "Go kill yourself."
I'm just here like reviewing a game once. Let me say that again. All the negative press you've seen on me is because I reviewed a game once, didn't like it, some 16-year-old kid picked it up, can't sum it up enough. The game is trash, the community is trash. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. You guys literally sound like abuse victims, right? And I stand by what I said 100%.
Who does that? What adult does that? You can't be a grown-ass man who has influence, who has what, thousands of fucking, you know, subscribers and viewers, and you're telling a community of people to go kill themselves because they didn't like your opinion. And I don't care if he deleted the video or made an apology on Twitter, like, oh, it's just a joke, I'm just joking. There's certain things you just don't joke about. And telling people to go kill themselves is one of those things you don't joke about. Because it's not funny. It's not a joke. And when you're sitting here saying that this community is toxic, because that's part of his review. Part of his review is he says Elden Ring has a toxic community base. You're being toxic. You can't talk about people being toxic when you're being toxic. You can't tell people to go kill themselves and that be from like a sense of not being toxic. You know? And the unfortunate thing is there's people out there who do have, you know, valid negative opinions towards Elden Ring. And when I say valid negative opinions, what I mean is they don't like things about the game and they point those things out, and their opinion be their opinion, but their reasons are valid. For example, when people point out they feel like Elden Ring performance-wise could have been better because on PC it does struggles when it comes to its frame rate. Those are valid opinions because there's valid reasons behind those opinions. There's people who point out that they just don't like the combat style of this kind of game. They're used to a certain other kind of style. That's valid. Just saying this game sucks, it looks like shit, it's not valid. There is no reasoning behind it. You're just saying things just to say things. And I kind of feel like when it comes to this dude, was that he was trying to market off negativity. I've always told people this. Negativity breeds reaction. Negativity breeds viewership. When you watch the news, what stories do they tell you the most? The negative stuff, because the positive stuff doesn't get as many views. There's so much negativity in the world, and all of that gets mentioned on social media. All of that gets mentioned on when it comes to content creation. When there's that drama between Ninja and Pokemon all over the place, you don't hear about the positivities involved in content creators. You don't hear about positivity involved in the world. You don't hear about positivity involved in social media. Negativity breeds viewership. And when you have this game that's massively popular, like it sold millions, like the first like week that it came out, pre-order sales through the roof, Steam charts just dominating. Elden Ring, for all intents and purposes, barring some random game coming out in the next few months, is going to be game of the year for most major publications. The key word there is major publications. Now, people on YouTube and Twitter will have their own personal, you know, game of the years. People like me, people like Act-Man or Aspen Gold or whoever. But for major publications, aka Game Informer, IGN, GameSpot, the Game Awards, you know, GDC, Gamescom, you know, all of those major, you know, publications, most of them, if not all of them, are going to crown Elden Ring as their game of the year because Elden Ring has been amazing. Now, that does not mean it's been perfect. It just means that it for most of the stretch of the imagination has been a success. When you have something like that, that's just this massive success, there's always people who want to take that and be the bad guy, be the devil's advocate, be the villain, because every story needs a villain. So you get these people who are like, I'm just going to be that person who points out nothing but negative things and just be negative. And if anyone attacks me, they're the problem. That's how that came off to me. It comes off as someone who is trying to market off negativity. And then when negativity came back at that person, they went defensive. they're going to die on the hill that they're on, and then they became the same thing that they complained about when it came to toxicity. Now, what I want to say now when it comes to, you know, the rest of this is that I want to point out he was talking from a standpoint of himself, his own hardship, and when you get into that situation, instead of blaming themselves, instead of being accountable for their own, you know, issues, their own flaws, they just make it the game's fault. You know, he pointed out in his own videos that he attacked an NPC and NPC attacked him. Well, you attacked an NPC. It's not going to just let you attack it, and it's going to defend itself. That's your fault. You know, a lot of the things that comes to Elden Ring, a lot of the, you know, this is hard, that's bullshit kind of takes that you get Elden Ring, is people doing things themselves that aren't helping them out. And you get these other people who use takes like, no one who plays these games as a fresh player enjoys this, aka only Souls experienced players enjoy Elden Ring, which is bullshit. I'll give you an example. One of my favorite streamers on Twitch, his name is Gala Drex, and Gala is playing her first From Software game. She has never played Demon Souls, didn't play any other Souls games, didn't play Bloodborne. She said she tried Sekiro and didn't really get into it because she didn't like a linear game. She just like linear RPGs. So her first full take of a From Software game has been Elden Ring. And she's been streaming Elden Ring. She's basically turned it into one of her main games. She used to be a Siege streamer and basically has jumped from that to Elden Ring. And she has enjoyed the hell out of the game. And she loves the game. These are her own words. And she's going through hardship. The game there's been moments of the game where she has raged, where she's been frustrated, where she's had complaints, and she has issues with the game, but she still has enjoyed it. So the thought and there's probably thousands of people who are just like her, who play Elden Ring as a first From Software game and had a lot of fun with it, even though they had a hard time with it. That's okay. It is okay for people to have a hard time. It's okay for people to struggle. It's okay for people to enjoy it, even though they struggled. But the biggest take for me that bothers me as someone who plays these kind of games is the thought process that if you like these hard games, you are like a masochist, or you like punishment, or, you know, something along those lines. And it's not even true. You know, and I don't want to be like, this isn't a flex, by the way. I'm not trying to like flex at all. I can't. Why am I? Look. I'm saying all of that with my hair. When I find Elden Ring to be a very relaxing game, and again, this isn't a flex at all. I'm not trying to like flex or anything like that, because I die in that game a lot. As someone who's experienced in From Software games, I played Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, played Sekiro, and Elden Ring. I have 6 characters in Elden Ring. 2 of them have beaten the game. 2 of them are pretty close to the end game. And it's to me, it's a very relaxing game. I don't have a lot of the hardships other people do, and I don't even think that's because of my experience. It's just how it works sometimes. And I feel like a lot of people would have less hard times in these kind of games if they actually played the games in a different way. As in, stop trying to be frustrated. I feel like there's so much, you know, intentional frustration towards these games where people are like, you're supposed to die, you're gonna die, and, you know, it's okay to be angry. Let these enemies piss you off. There's so much openness about allowing yourself to be mad in these games, when you should really try to find a way to enjoy yourself. For example, when it comes to myself, when I die in these games, my usual reaction is, well, why did I die? If I died to a boss, maybe it was my own fault. You know, maybe there's something that I'm doing wrong. Not the game. It's not the game being too hard. It's not the game being ridiculous or being broken. I fucked up somewhere. Where did I fucked up? Well, that's where I fucked up. I stream. I see my own stream. I will literally be midstream, dying a fight in Elden Ring, and then look at my own stream, because, you know, there's a 5-second delay, and see exactly what happened, so I can pinpoint that's what happened. Whereas a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people aren't thinking to themselves, I'm losing in this game, I'm dying in this game because that's something that I'm doing wrong. It's always, it's the game. It's nobody else. I'm too good at this. I'm too good to be the problem. It's the game. And that breeds into those takes that, you know, you can't enjoy Elden Ring. You can't enjoy a From Software game because they're hard games. When it's like, they're only as hard as you yourself make them out to be. That's a very true statement. They're only as hard as you make them out to be. If you make the game harder on yourself by not, properly preparing yourself for fights, if you made the game hard on yourself by not properly gearing for the fight, made the game hard on yourself by, going about things in a way that, makes the game harder on you. If you're playing a build that's, not giving you enough health to do any encounters, if you're playing a build like the deprived builds, for example, in Dark Souls 3 especially, one of the most common challenges was to basically try to beat the game with level 1, as in you're never leveling up at all. You're playing a deprived character and you never level up. You play the entire game without ever leveling up, without ever increasing your weapons, without ever using any other weapons in the game. You're just deprived and you beat the game that way. There's intentional challenges put on people. Now, if you're playing the game, you're progressing in an intelligent way, you're doing better yourself, you're doing all the right things, and you're still having a hard time, then that's when you gotta look at yourself as, all right, maybe I need to do better with my timing, maybe I can do better with my dodge, maybe do better with, this or that. And yeah, the game does have bugs. Every game has bugs. Every game has issues. Every game has a chance of, causing what I like to call a bullshit mechanic, which is basically, you only failed or died because for whatever reason the game bugged, or there's something built into the game that intentionally creates a certain situation. That's every game, not just Elden Ring. And I feel like whenever you have these games that are popular, everyone just decides it's just that game, it's just that series, it's just that franchise, it's just those kind of games. And it's like, From Software games are works of art. They're not just hard games. Like, they have their difficulty, but they're not just hard games. And I hate when I see that, everyone just mentions it's hard. It's a death simulator. It's one of the worst takes that I always see with these games is it's a death simulator, or people who play it just want to die a lot in video games. It's like, that's not the take at all. One of the other worst takes when it comes to these games is there is no story, there is no lore. And it's like, there's a shit ton of story, there's a shit ton of lore. Do you even play the games? Or do you feel like cutscenes are lore? Cutscenes are story? Because I feel like that's what a lot of people think. A lot of people feel like the only way a game has lore, cutscenes, or a story is if they have cutscenes. From Software games usually only have cutscenes at the beginning of the game, the open cinematic, the end cinematics, as well as some boss cutscenes whenever you first get to a boss encounter, and as well as the transition to the second phase. But that's not what lore and story is. Lore and story is all around you. Every weapon in the game, every item in the game, every piece of armor in the game. There's so much text in the game, so much dialogue in the game, so many NPCs in the game you talk to. All of that is lore and all that story. The thing about From Software games is the lore and story is cryptic, as in they don't tell you full information. They give you pieces and hope that you, the player, can piece it together. Which is great. That's a very great thing, and it should be applauded, not hated, for wanting you, the player who's role playing in their game, to also use your brain for the story. When you watch a Vadi video who's made a career off telling lore and story on the From Software games, that tells you what? That there's lore and there's story because someone has a career off of it. Which disproves the thought process that there is no lore and that there is no story. So I feel like there's just so many bad takes when it comes to this game. And yeah, I know someone who will see this video and just be like, oh, you're just being positive because you enjoy the game, because you like the game. You gave it a 9 out of 10 in your review, which you can watch at the end of the video. And all the kind of things. It's like, even if I hated the game for whatever reason, I will still have an open enough mind to see, what it does do right. I've never played Bloodborne because I never owned PlayStation. I kind of wish I did have a PlayStation because I do want to play Spider-Man and I do want to play Bloodborne, but I don't. So let's just continue. Let's just say I did play Bloodborne and I didn't like it. I made a video talking to you about why I didn't like it. How would I go about that? I'll go about it the exact same way about this video, where I'm pointing out what it does do right and what about myself prevented me from enjoying it. Because sometimes when it comes to not enjoying something, your brain is preventing you from enjoying it because there's things about you personally that you just don't like in a video game. It doesn't matter how good the game actually is, just personally, you couldn't get into it. You know, and that I'll use example Stardew Valley. I openly said I think that game's trash. It's not for me. You know, there's people who enjoy that game and they have the reasons for enjoying it, and I gave them my reasons for not enjoying it. And that's just that's a personal thing. But there's a difference between personal and factual. You have to separate those things. You have to separate personal, factual. And a lot of people who give their takes, they're throwing too much personal into the factual. They're telling you that Elden Ring was delayed for 4 years when it wasn't, because they need some kind of like number to hinge on. People throw numbers into their videos to make you the viewer look dumb, or to entrance you into thinking what they say is a factual thing instead of an opinion. People will potentially lie or skew numbers to make it an opinion seem factual. They'll take things like that, like Elden Ring was delayed for 4 years, and it's like, no, Elden Ring actually had delayed by 1 month. It's going to come out in January. It came out in February instead. That's the only delay Elden Ring ever had. But someone literally said in a video for thousands of people to see, it got delayed 4 years. It didn't. Like, people will literally lie on purpose to make you feel like, to basically to lie to you and trick you and make you feel like an idiot. And this is a long video, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Don't worry, this is it. I'm gonna wrap it up. But I just want to say, like, if you're one of the people who play Elden Ring and you're struggling Elden Ring, don't run to YouTube and see these negative people who are basically gonna make you hate the game because you see what they're dealing with, and it's like it's triggering something in your brain to make it feel like, you know, the game itself is the problem. It's not just you. Just learn the game. You know, he had a take. He also, the guy from before, the Trifling idiot, he had a take where he was like, games should be built for everyone. All games can be for everyone if you just learn the game. You know, a lot of people don't want to learn, and that's your own personal problem. It's not the game's fault you don't want to learn. If I don't play Valorant, and I say the reason why I don't play Valorant is because I don't like the controls, that's on me. That's not on Valorant. It's not Valorant's fault that I'm lazy. It's not Valorant's fault that I'm incapable of learning. And this isn't true, by the way. I actually have played Valorant. I think it's actually a decent game. In my first time playing it, I did pretty good. Not the point, though. If I go play, you know, Stardew or Pokemon or Zelda or any game, and I don't want to learn the mechanics of those games, that's not the game's fault. That's my fault. And that's also your fault. If you play any game and you refuse to learn mechanics, if you refuse to learn how that game plays, and you're just trying to force how you play video games on that game, that is your fault, not the game's fault. Don't trash the game because you yourself are being ignorant or arrogant, both, and trying to force your way. You play Dragon Age, you play Skyrim, and you're trying to play The Witcher 3 or play Elden Ring the exact same way you play Elder Scrolls on normal, and you're having a hard time. Learn to play the game, and then you'll learn. Not that bad. It actually becomes, the games become easier the more you learn the mechanics. That's how you get people like me or Democracy or Distortion or even As1 Goat, and people who you watch on YouTube who seemingly have an easier time playing these games, who are relaxed playing these games and not losing their fucking mind 24/7 playing these games, because you learn the mechanics so much so to where we just get used to things. Dying to bosses don't piss us off because we've died to bosses before. If you've been dying to bosses since Demon Souls, you're not gonna be like losing your mind and pulling your fucking hair out because you've been dying to bosses since Demon Souls. But anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Y'all be safe because another being boy, Anubis the Gamer Archer. Follow me on Twitch. Link to me in the description box below. It's on screen right now. Stream Monday to Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. I know I'm talking very fast. I apologize. I'm a variety streamer. I play a variety of different games. Lately, I've been playing like a lot of Destiny and baseball. I played some Halo this week, as well as, you know, finishing up Witch Queen and Destiny. Things are happening. As for here on YouTube, look forward to the Far Cry 6 review coming up soon. I gotta get that recorded and dealt with and edited. You know, the whole routine. Y'all be safe. Y'all be kind to one another. I'll be your boy, Anubis the Gamer Archer. Anubis deuces.